Geeks are in the building. UFC 270 is in the books. Francis Ngannou and Davison Figueiredo come out on top, underdogs for the cash. Who would have thought that Francis Ngannou would become a wrestler and Davison Figueiredo would win a close decision? So that's very interesting. Let's get right into it. Goosey, what do you got in the main event?
Main event. So, interesting fight. Definitely didn't see it going how it did. Francis Ngannou turned into a wrestler. The post-fight is coming out. He had a torn knee, all that. It remains to be seen, but it definitely looked like in there. He looked a little bit slower. You're wondering why he wasn't exploding to the target, really trying to unload some combos. But he made use of what he had. He tried to gas out Gane early, get it to where he could wrestle him late. And ultimately, man, he proved he's a true champion. He went out, defended the belt, and did it against a very good opponent. Gane looked fantastic early, on the feet. It's going to be tough for any heavyweight to stand with him. But Ngannou might have shown how to do it if you're going to beat that guy.
Yeah, the thing that's crazy to me is Ciryl Gane just went 25 minutes with the baddest man on the planet and only took 9 head strikes. I think I saw 9 significant head strikes, and they weren't even significant. He didn't take a fatal blow. He just avoided complete destruction for 25 minutes and didn't win, which is, if you would have told me that Ciryl Gane's going to go this entire fight and not get rocked one time, I would have been like, I will bet my house, my life, that he wins the decision then. And that is not how it went. And that is it just blows my mind. Francis definitely was hurt. 2 knee braces.
I will say there is an argument to be made for Gane winning that 5th round. He did a little bit more damage, but you make a mistake like giving up top guard or top position to go for that heel hook. You don't get it, and you probably deserve to lose that fight. That crucial of a moment, if you're going to take a shot, you best not miss. And he missed, so.
That was absolutely absurdity. I was high-fiving my buddy like, we got it. He shot the takedown. That was brilliant. Like, the whole game plan was just shuffled, He's coming for takedowns. Let's shoot one of our own. He gets it. And then he stands, he's too high on the guard and gets swept. Heartbreaking for the Geeks. After we get the first 2 rounds in the bag, it seemed like we were just running away with cash. Not so simple. Let's move to the fireworks that happened in the co-main. Brandon Moreno loses a decision, a very close, debatable decision. I had him winning 3-2. I think that the knockdowns were just enough to sway those rounds and get him the strap. I think that whole Henry Cejudo camp really helped transform him into a more disciplined fighter. I think that he looked way more patient, really looking for his shots. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I think this fight kind of proved to me that these are the 2 guys at flyweight. They're the 2 best, because you look in the past, Figueiredo would come out wild and he was still knocking all these guys out. Now he comes out with a way more calculated, better game plan. Arguably the best I've seen Figueiredo, and these guys went to war for 5 rounds, and we're probably going to end up with a 4th one. It comes down to how highly you score that knockdown. Personally, in the 5th round, I thought Brandon went for that kick. He was a little off balance and got clipped by a shot. He stood right back up. Personally, I would weigh his takedown, where he had top control and some ground and pound for about 30 seconds, more highly than that. But I can see how a judge would give 3-2 Figgy. Either way, great fight. And, it kind of sets up a massive quadrilogy if that's the route the UFC wants to go.
100%. Those guys are guaranteed fireworks every single time they're in the octagon together. So we'll keep moving down the card though, and some highlights, some things that really stood out, that really captured my attention as I was watching. And the first thing that jumped out to me, it was a heartbreaker, but I have to give him the shout out. The performance of the night for me has to be Victor Henry. After like really taking everything in on the night, this guy comes in against a seasoned, one of my favorite fighters, Raoni Barcelos, my boy, right in my parlay, right in the meat middle. I say, oh, minus 550, that's okay. This is okay. He's going to be fine. No, man, Victor Henry comes out 34 years old, same age, and just works my boy for 3 rounds, outpaces him, outvolues him, out everything, outclasses him. Like, I was at a loss for words. I can't be any more happy for the guy. Honestly, like, wow, what a debut. Like, you really just came in here and made your presence known. So what do you got on that one?
Man, Victor Henry. You know, I wonder how that was his UFC debut. Like, what have they been doing? This guy's 34 years old. He's been out there on the circuit and he's not fighting for the UFC. Come on. Um, you know, he steps in there and gives an absolutely electric performance. He's doing the air Kadar on the weigh-ins, you know. He's got this Say Uncle Nacho Libre tat on his shoulder. Everything about this guy, he's for the boys. He's the Southern California kid. He comes in, the home crowd in front of Anaheim, and, you know, it looked like there were angels with him in the octagon. He was floating around. He had the perfect game plan. You know, Barcelos didn't come out and look bad. Barcelos looked on point, and he was just dancing in there. The chin held up, and he did enough to get the win. I thought that was fight of the night. I would have appreciated it, you know, if the UFC gave him the fight of the night because, you know, the contract he was on, he definitely deserved a little bit. But all in all, phenomenal performance.
Yeah, 100%. Another guy that kind of surprised us, surprised me at least, Sednar Magomedov with the absolute wire quick put down Cody Stamann in the first round. Looked like Cody Stamann wanted nothing to do with Sednar Magomedov at any point in that fight. From the bell, it looked like the shit that Sed was throwing at him was fucking wild, and Cody was not ready to jump into those waters, if you ask me. So it's a tough loss for the kid. He's on a skid. He's got a bunch of personal issues, but I didn't see it going like that.
First off, with Cody, looking back on this fight, after you mentioned the personal issues, he definitely did not seem the same this week in the build-up. You know, he seemed a little looser during his walkout. He was singing along. It was electric. The place was going nuts. But when he got in the octagon, he just didn't look the same, you know, and that was maybe Sednar Magomedov just being that good because the skills were on point. He was keeping him at bay. He shot a takedown early after he took a couple hard shots and got stuffed, and I think it just took the wind out of Stamann's sails, you know, because after that, he pieces him up a little more. Cody Stamann shoots the weak takedown and gets a quick tap. But pretty electric performance for Sednar Magomedov, and I'm excited to see what he does going forward.
Yeah. Another entertaining fight. Michel Paella actually lost a round. Didn't see that coming to Andre Fialho. Not much to say about this one. I thought that Paella could have looked a lot better. I thought that he showed a lot of holes in his game. I think that the next opponent he's going to get, it might be a good spot to fade him. You can find a good guy with good technical striking skills, able to pressure fight people. I think it's a good spot because he can't fight against the fence. I think that was very clear. And I think that Andre just wasn't the guy to get the angles and cut him off and really put the damage on him. But I felt like he was very vulnerable if that game plan was implemented a little bit stronger. What do you think?
You look at this fight, I was honestly expecting a little more fireworks. Pereira, a bit of a showman in there. Fialho had power in the hands. But, you know, it was on a card full of very exciting fights. It kind of just fell under the radar. But I think Michel Pereira, he's got to get a little better game plan because it kind of looks like he gets in there and spazzes out, you know. And a guy as physically gifted as him with the skills he has, he can put it together and make a run. But I just question some of the decisions he makes in there. The gas tank seems to always run out. But you know, he looked good, and if he figures it out going forward, he could be a problem at welterweight. Fiallo, very good boxing skills, but like if you're a 185 pounder in the UFC, you got to bring more to the table. You know, he was walking forward with his hands up, trying to throw combos, and you got to use kicks. You got to get in there, threaten takedowns or something. But you know, it's the classic boxer versus MMA fighter, and that's what played out in the octagon.
Yeah, 100%. Big fight that happened. Big fight that we love to see happen. JDM came out for the boys and just painted Pete Alonso's face. I think he broke his nose like 8 times. Every time he would punch him, Pete's nose would be this way, this way, this way. It'd be in, it'd be that way. I mean, that was just demolition. He had no answer for JDM. Once he got his timing, it was just bop, bop, bop. And we love to see it. Got the early knockout. What do you got on that one?
Yeah, JDM looked great. Impressed me. The striking was on point. He had way better head movement than I thought. The timing was really good. He found Pete Rodriguez's timing early, and yeah, he had no adjustments. He was just in there trying to do the same thing, hoping for the early knockdown or knockout, and it definitely backfired on him. You know, JDM, he's a lot to handle for anyone, but if you go in expecting an early night, it's probably not going to go too well for you.
We had Matt Favola come out. We were actually all over this one. We were the lines had it painted to go over, and me and you were just looking at each other like, no, 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 no. This fight's not going anywhere close to the third bell. I mean, did you see the energy and just the ferocity, the strikes that these guys were throwing from the get-go? Like these guys came to kill each other, and these guys came to put a pace on each other. Like their game plan was to pace each other, and then they met each other, and that's what we got. So it was fireworks from the start. Valdez is a dog. He got absolutely murked. The ref definitely was, I think it was Mike Beltran. He definitely needs to be put in place because that was wild. How do you let a guy just get smacked around, dropped, I think 5 times? That was tough. I mean, I guess he's fighting back and he's a dog and stuff, but enough is enough at one point, you know? What do you got on that
Yeah.
one?
So I look at this and very exciting fight, you know, a lot of fun for how short it was. Valdez looked like he came out and just wanted to brawl, only offensive focused, you know, not really worried about the defense. And when you're fighting someone as powerful as Matt Frivola, it's a risky strategy, you know. He played with fire and got knocked down 6 times in the first 3 minutes. I see, you know, pretty scary for that featherweight division that or lightweight division that Frivola's looking a little more technical on the feet. He showed a little bit of defense. He did get rocked once, but he was also very high output. A lot of damaging strikes and definitely exciting to see for of the steamroller.
Yeah. So I mean, we started the night real good. The we called the girls fight, the very first fight on the card. We took Jasmine Jasuduzavicius or whatever, and she was plus 180. She was good value pick. We took her by decision at also, and I think that was at plus 200, plus 225, something like that. So that was a really good way to start the card. Put some money in your wallet coming into the real fights. But other than that, we had a couple other fights that were just don't make the discussion. Honestly, we had Michael Morales, Trevin Giles. We didn't get to that. That was an absolute bang show. We have to talk about that. What do you got?
Yeah, I think I really liked what I saw from Giles early, but the chin is deteriorating at this point. You know, he comes out, and gets a knockdown within the first minute. And then what does he do after that? Clinches him up against the fence. Why? Obviously, we saw a minute later when he tried to hit him with a flurry, and Michael Morales stepped back and hit that counter right. But yeah, Michael Morales, what, 21 years old, 20 years old? Elite power already. If you can do that to a guy on one punch going backwards, I mean, I think he's got a lot to grow. He's not anywhere near his potential, which is scary because he's already showing a really good wrestling defense. His offensive wrestling was great on the Contender Series. And seeing that power in his hands, man, he's got good stand-up. I'm excited to see what this guy does going forward.
The next Ecuadorian. This guy is up next, man. I had to change my pick. I was on Giles all week. You know what? Man, I just really put the numbers together and I scratched my head and I said, you know what? No way. I think that this kid is legit. And this kid is honestly like really something to be like on the look for because he's not getting a lot of hype. I think that was his debut. This is a guy that his name needs to be talked, like discussed much more, because this is a real problem. I mean, you're knocking out Trevin Giles. I mean, I guess the weight cut's always going to be an excuse and stuff, but for a guy that wasn't supposed to have the hands in the matchup, I think that he looked comfortable the whole fight. I mean, the way that he was letting Giles come at him, he was setting up counter punches. Like he was gonna get him at some point. That's what that from the first round I saw, and I saw Giles getting really timid. He started wrestling. Giles is not a wrestler like that. You know what I'm saying? He would much rather stand and swing. And if he's going to wrestle, something's going on. So that's what I got with that one. I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was a great night of fights. I was on the edge of my seat. I thought it was entertaining. I thought everyone came to kill. I think that's the best when everyone is actually trying to finish each other. That wraps it up for this. We got to have another video coming out later this week on what's going to go down in the heavyweight division because we just had news that Ngannou's getting sued by the UFC for allegedly discussing contracts with boxing. Jake Paul's coach, Jake Paul's manager, something to do with that. So that's going to leave some question marks on how he goes down. Stipe's still standing over there. John Jones doesn't have a contract. What do you got, Gus?
Pretty fun headlines coming out of this. Obviously not fun for Francis Ngannou. This kind of fallout for the UFC really makes me feel for him. But a lot of stuff to talk about. Potential, for a whole new heavyweight landscape, depending on how this plays out. And then a lot of MMA news coming up. So, I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, man. I mean, look at this. We're going to London. We got Tom Aspinall and Volkov. That could be a huge contender fight. I mean, look at how we're shaking out. I mean, geez Louise. The belt could be in one of those guys' hands, or they could be going for it real soon. So we'll see how that pans out. Keep checking us out on YouTube for more content. Sayonara, motherfuckers.